The Galactic Empire ruled the stars for more than 10,000 years. Its banners flew over 1,000 worlds. Its fleets were so large that they could darken entire suns. No enemy had ever stood against it and lived. On this day, the Empire was celebrating. At the center of the galaxy stood Aurelius Prime, the shining capital world. Massive golden towers floated above blue oceans. Millions of ships filled the sky, moving in perfect order. Alien races from every corner of the galaxy had gathered to honor the Empire's latest victory. Music echoed through space stations. Lights flashed like artificial stars. The High Council watched proudly from their orbital palace. They believed this day would be remembered forever. They were right, but not for the reason they thought. Without warning, every celebration signal stopped. No alarms rang. No explosions followed. Just silence. Sensors across Aurelius Prime flickered once, then froze. A single object had appeared at the edge of the system. It was small, too small. At first, the Empire scanners thought it was debris, a broken rock drifting through space. But the object was moving with purpose. Smooth, controlled, calm. No warp signature. No jump gate opening. No known engine trail. It simply appeared. The object moved closer, passing to the outer defense ring, without slowing down. Automated cannons did not fire, not because they were ordered to stop, but because they went offline. One by one, across the capital system, military officers stared at their screens. "What is that?" one commander asked. No one answered. The ship was unlike anything in Imperial records. It had no sharp edges, no glowing weapons, no visible engines. Its surface was dark and clean, like polished stone. No symbols, no flags, no markings of any kind. It did not respond to hails. The Empire sent messages in every known language. Warnings, commands, threats, silence. The High Council gathered in the palace chamber. Ancient beings some thousands of years old felt something they had not felt since their early wars. Unease. "This must be a probe," one counselor said. "Some minor species testing us." But his voice lacked confidence. The ship crossed the orbit of the inner moons. It did not change speed. It did not avoid traffic. Imperial ships moved out of its way instead, like prey stepping aside for a predator. Still, the unknown vessel did nothing. No attack, no defense, no message, only approach. For the first time in history, the Empire did not know what to do. Finally, the fleet master gave the order. Deploy observation drones. Maintain distance. Hundreds of small drones launched toward the ship. They surrounded it in a wide circle, scanning every particle, every wave of energy. Then, all at once, the drones stopped. They did not explode. They did not fall. They simply went dark. Every signal cut. The drones floated lifeless in space. Fear spread through the command decks like a slow poison. "This is impossible," an engineer whispered. There was no energy spike, no weapon discharge. The ship continued forward. Now it was close enough to be seen with the naked eye from observation decks. Citizens pressed against transparent walls, watching the dark shape glide through space. Some felt awe, others felt terror. The Empire activated its planetary shields. They had protected Aurelius Prime from supernovas and black hole storms. The shields flickered. Once, twice, then stabilized. But the High Council noticed something terrifying. The unknown ship had not reacted. It did not slow down. It did not change course. It passed through the shield boundary, not by breaking it, not by forcing it open, but as if the shield was never there. A collective breath was held across the planet. "This violates every law we know," the fleet master said quietly. The ship stopped at last. It hovered above the capital world, perfectly still. No weapons emerged. No troops deployed. Minutes passed. Then 1 hour. The Empire waited for destruction, but it did not come. Instead, something far worse settled in. Realization. This ship had crossed the heart of the most powerful empire in the galaxy, and the Empire had been unable to stop it. The High Council understood now. This was not a scout. This was not a mistake. This was a message. And the message was clear. Someone had arrived. Someone who did not fear the Galactic Empire. Far above Aurelius Prime, the silent ship waited. And for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy held its breath. The silent ship hovered above Aurelius Prime, casting a shadow that seemed to swallow the golden towers beneath it. Citizens pressed against viewing panels, whispering prayers and curses alike. The air in the High Council chamber was thick with tension. For the first time in millennia, the Empire felt powerless. Fleet Master Kale paced nervously. We cannot let this go unanswered. Prepare the warning signals. Dozens of drones and smaller ships formed a tight formation around the unknown vessel. Bright beams of light scanned it, probing every inch. Imperial sensors analyzed, recalibrated, and scanned again. Still, there was no response. No communication. No reaction. The High Council tried diplomacy. Hails echoed through space in countless languages, tones, and codes, commands, warnings, pleas. Every single attempt was met with silence. The audacity, hissed Counselor Valen, an elder who had commanded battles since the first expansion wars. It does not even acknowledge us. The Empire decided to escalate. Launch the attack drones, Kale ordered. Hundreds of small, fast, weaponized drones surged forward like a metallic swarm. Their lasers ignited the void as they converged on the silent ship. For a moment, it seemed as if battle would begin. Imperial officers cheered quietly, sensing that their power was finally reasserted. Then the impossible happened. The drones froze. Their engines cut. Their weapons powered down mid-flight. They drifted silently toward the ship and then stopped, completely inert. Not a single drone moved. Some even collided with each other, spinning slowly, as though gravity had betrayed them. Gasps filled the command deck. What is happening? One officer stammered. Fleet Master Kale's hands trembled on the console. This is impossible. These drones should have shields, backup power, fail-safes. Nothing can stop them like this. The High Council convened emergency meetings. Every scientist, mage, and strategist in the Empire was summoned. Every calculation, formula, and war doctrine was applied to understand this anomaly. The conclusion was terrifying. The ship was untouchable by any known means. The unknown vessel moved slightly, positioning itself directly above the main palace. Its presence was calm, deliberate, and terrifying. It did not threaten, but the Empire felt a crushing pressure. Fear rippled through every officer, every citizen, every leader. This is not an attack, whispered Counselor Valen. This is a demonstration. Hours passed. The Empire had fired, scanned, hounded, and surrounded. Nothing had worked. The human light calmed the ship, unnerved everyone. A new fear began to grow. Perhaps this was not negotiable. Perhaps it was already too late to act. Then, without warning, a faint ripple moved across the space around the vessel. The silenced drones began to drift back, almost gently, as if released from an invisible grip. Imperial officers stared at their screens in disbelief. Systems rebooted. Lasers recharged. Engines hummed. But the fear remained. The High Council understood something fundamental. The rules of war no longer applied. Humanity had arrived, and it played by entirely different rules. Above Aurelius Prime, the unknown ship hung silently. It was a simple, dark object in the void, yet it crushed the Empire's confidence with the sheer weight of its presence. The Empire had faced countless enemies in its history. It had crushed rebellions, destroyed rival fleets, and bent entire species to its will. But now, the Empire was unsure. For the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy questioned its greatest power. And the silent ship had not fired a single weapon. It had done something far more terrifying. It had shown them that they were not in control. The council chamber fell silent. The citizens of Aurelius Prime whispered in fear. Even the most hardened generals felt it, an unshakable certainty that this was only the beginning. Then, the High Council received a signal. Not words, not sound, not fire, something else. A subtle, undeniable force that left every reader of it shaken. And across the Empire, one question spread like wildfire. Who are they? The silent ship hovered above Aurelius Prime like a dark sentinel. Its smooth surface reflected no light, but somehow it seemed to see everything. The High Council watched from their palace chamber, their ancient faces pale. Even the most confident leaders felt the weight of something they could not comprehend. "Prepare for engagement," Fleet Master Kale ordered, his voice steadier than he felt. "If they refuse to respond, we strike." Every fleet in the system was on high alert. Thousands of warships formed a ring around the unknown vessel. Weapons were primed. Shields were at maximum. Drones, fighters, and capital ships bristled with every type of armament known to the Empire. But the ship did not move. Then it happened. A faint glow began along the edges of its hull. It was not light as the Empire knew it. No lasers, no energy beams. It was different. Subtle, almost alive. It pulsed, as if the ship itself was breathing. One by one, the Imperial drones tried to approach again. Instantly, they stopped. Engines faltered. Shields failed. Weapons died. Some drones spun helplessly, while others floated back toward the fleet, as if gently guided. No one dared touch them. "This is beyond technology," whispered an elder counselor. "It's something else. Something powerful." The unknown ship shifted slightly. A ripple passed through the air, bending light, twisting space. Time itself seemed to hesitate around it. Imperial officers froze at their consoles. Calculations failed. Lasers fired and vanished mid-beam. Missiles slowed, then dropped harmlessly into empty space. The High Council stared in disbelief. This was not an attack. This was a demonstration of absolute control. A voice, or something like a voice, echoed in the minds of those present. Not words, exactly, but meaning. Clear, undeniable, terrifying meaning. "Stand down." The words were not spoken. They were felt deep in the chest, in the mind, in the very core being. Every member of the High Council, every fleet commander, even civilians watching from afar, knew what it meant. Kale clenched his fists. "We cannot defy it. Not with our weapons. Not with our fleets." The ship remained still, hovering above the city, calm, patient. The Empire's pride, its thousands of years of conquest, its unmatched fleets, all were powerless. Then came the first proof of its superiority. A small squadron of enemy ships tried to escape the system. They accelerated. They fired engines. They activated shields. But the moment they moved, the ship reacted. A soft, invisible force seemed to push them back. One by one, the ship slowed, spun, then drifted harmlessly in place, immobilized. The Empire realized a terrifying truth. This was not a ship. This was a weapon beyond understanding. One vessel, without firing a single shot, had neutralized thousands of warships. Who are they?" Counselor Valen whispered, trembling. Kale could only shake his head. "I don't know, but they are not from any known star system. They are something else entirely." For the first time, the Empire felt fear, not for its worlds, not for its fleets, but for itself. It had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years without challenge. And now, the very idea of control seemed laughable, fragile, meaningless. Then, the ship did something even more astounding. It moved slightly, not in a straight line, but with purpose. Around it, space warped, stars bending slightly, light twisting. No weapons were fired. No shields were touched. Yet entire fleets found themselves unable to move, unable to resist, unable to breathe freely. Every mind across Aurelius Prime felt it. A singular presence, more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. And then silence. Absolute silence. The unknown ship waited. Calm, silent, patient, watching. It had not attacked. It had not destroyed. It had merely reminded the Galactic Empire of one simple fact. They were not the strongest. And in that moment, the seeds of a new war and a new order were planted. The stillness of Aurelius Prime shattered. Warning sirens blared across every city, echoing to the golden towers and bustling spaceports. Citizens ran for shelter, their eyes glued to the dark silhouette hovering above. The Empire's pride, its fleets, and its confidence, everything they relied on, was slipping through their fingers. Fleet Master Kale's voice thundered through the command deck. All ships, open fire. Target the unknown vessel. Thousands of weapons fired simultaneously. Laser beams streaked across space. Missiles ignited, leaving trails of light like falling stars. The Empire's might, concentrated and precise, converged on the mysterious ship, but it did nothing. The beams bent away, twisting as if space itself had rejected them. Missiles slowed, stopped, and drifted harmlessly into the void. Shield arrays overloaded, not from direct impact, but from an invisible force pressing against them. Imperial officers stared in horror, realizing their entire arsenal had become useless. A loud, unnatural hum filled command deck. The unknown ship shifted slightly, and suddenly, hundreds of Imperial drones and fighters froze mid-air. Some collided softly, others spun slowly. Not destroyed, not damaged, just stopped. "This is impossible," shouted Kale, gripping the console. "Every calculation fails." The unknown vessel finally moved forward, not to attack, but to assert control. Space seemed to bend around it. Lights flickered. Time felt stretched, slowed. The fleet's largest ships, massive dreadnoughts bristling with weapons, could not advance. Every maneuver faltered, and then it struck, without firing a single weapon. A subtle pulse of energy radiated outward. Not a blast, not an explosion. A soft ripple across the battlefield that disabled all Imperial vessels in its path. Engines cut. Weapons shut down. Systems went dark. Ships drifted helplessly, caught in the invisible grip of the human vessel. Kale fell back from the console, sweat dripping from his brow. They didn't even touch them. They just stopped them. Citizens watching from the cities below gasped. Dread filled the streets. The Empire, once untouchable, was paralyzed by one small ship, one unknown ship. The High Council realized something terrifying. This was not an attack meant to destroy. It was a demonstration of power. A warning. The Empire's entire fleet, thousands of ships across the system, was helpless before a single human vessel. The unknown ship hovered silently, its dark form calm and unyielding. Then, a signal appeared in the minds of every officer, every leader, every citizen who dared to look at it. Stand down. Resistance is meaningless. No words were spoken. No commands were issued. It was not a threat. It was an undeniable fact. Panic spread. Orders were given, but no one dared obey them fully. Ships tried to retreat, but the invisible force prevented them. Fear and awe mingled in every heart. The Empire had faced countless enemies, rebels, alien invaders, traitors, but nothing had ever brought them to a standstill like this. And then, one by one, the High Council knelt in their chambers, not in submission, but in realization. Humanity was not here to fight conventionally. Humanity was here to remind the galaxy who had survived the darkness. The day had begun as a celebration of Empire's might. It ended with the Empire frozen, paralyzed, and terrified. Above Aurelius Prime, the human ship hovered, calm, silent, unyielding. It had not destroyed a single life. It had not fired a weapon. And yet, it had won the first battle without a fight. The galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy held its breath. Aurelius Prime was silent. The streets empty, the towers reflecting the shadow of the dark ship above. For the first time in millennia, the Empire's leaders realized they were facing a force they could not understand, and perhaps never would. Fleet Master Kale stared at the vessel. His mind raced through every historical record, every battle manual, every account of humanity he could find. But nothing prepared him for this. Humanity was supposed to be weak, primitive, confined to a single blue planet in the outer systems. Yet here they were, controlling the strongest empire in the galaxy, without firing a single weapon. Then, slowly, the ship revealed a fragment of its secret. A soft light projected from its hull, not as a weapon, but as a vision. Holographic images of a world scarred by fire, water, and storms appear in the skies above Aurelius Prime. Cities broken, forests burned, oceans boiling. Humanity had endured extinction wars, cataclysms that wiped out nearly all life on their homeworld. Valen, the elder counselor, whispered, "They survive everything." Their entire history is one of endurance. The projection changed. Humans rebuilding, rising from ashes, learning, advancing. Technology born from necessity, not conquest. Civilizations rebuilt from nothing, again and again. A species hardened by survival, but tempered by restraint. Kale's voice trembled. They never conquered. They learned. They evolved. The images shifted to show vast fleets, not built for aggression, but for protection. Ships of every size, equipped with systems unimaginable to the Empire. Weapons that could destroy, yes, but only as a last resort. Shields that bent space itself. Engines that moved through the galaxy like thought, not matter. Technology that was not designed to dominate, but to survive, to protect, to end wars before they began. The High Council, watching in horror, began to understand. Humanity's power was not measured in conquest or slaughter. It was measured in survival, in restraint, in intelligence that had outlasted extinction itself. A calm, almost invisible signal reached the minds of the leaders. Not a command, not a threat, but a message that resonated deeper than any spoken words could. We do not seek to rule. We do not seek to destroy. But we will stop those who cannot survive with honor. Valen's hands shook as he murmured, "They are not like us. They are beyond us. They will not fight like we fight. They decide what must end, and it does." The citizens of Aurelius Prime, peering from their windows, felt it too. A presence that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Humanity had arrived not as conquerors, but as judges, guardians, and reminders. Kale's eyes met those of his officers. We have underestimated them for too long. They are the first species in history to teach the galaxy a lesson without firing a shot. The unknown ship remained still above the capital, silent yet alive with purpose. It did not celebrate. It did not threaten. It simply existed, a beacon of a species that had survived the impossible and would not allow the galaxy to forget it. For the first time, the Empire saw clearly. Their fleets, their weapons, their pride, all of it was meaningless against a species that had endured extinction, learned patience, and mastered survival. And as the light from the human ship washed over Aurelius Prime, the Empire understood the most dangerous truth of all. Humanity was not here to fight like the Empire fought. Humanity was here to end wars before they began. The galaxy would never again be ruled by fear alone. A new power had arrived, and it had already begun its quiet judgment. The golden halls of Aurelius Prime were filled with silence. The once proud High Council, who had ruled over 10,000 worlds for millennia, now sat in stunned realization. Every fleet commander, every diplomat, every general knew the truth. The Galactic Empire was no longer the galaxy's ultimate power. Humanity had arrived, and the rules had changed forever. Fleet Master Kale stared at the human ship hovering above the capital. Its dark surface shimmered faintly, reflecting the planet below. One vessel, silent, small by Imperial standards, had neutralized thousands of warships, immobilized fleets, and instilled fear that no weapon could conquer. "Send the envoy," whispered Counselor Valen. "It's time to face them properly." A human ship descended slowly to the planet's surface, landing not with aggression, but with purposeful grace. Its hull gleamed under Aurelius Prime's sun. Smoke and light swirled as citizens and soldiers alike stopped in their tracks to watch. The ground beneath seemed to hum with the ship's energy. The Empire's leaders approached cautiously. They wore armor, robes, insignias, but none of it mattered. They were humbled not by threat, but by understanding. They had met a species that had survived extinction, mastered technology beyond comprehension, and wielded restraint as its greatest weapon. A single human stepped from the ship, tall, calm, with eyes that seemed to see into the heart of every observer. There was no arrogance, no pride, only presence. The High Council knelt. Slowly, methodically, one by one, soldiers lowered their weapons. Fleets powered down. The galaxy's strongest empire had chosen submission. The humans spoke, not with fury, but with authority. "You have had your time. You have conquered, fought, and ruled. That ends now. The galaxy will be free from tyranny and unnecessary war. You will choose coexistence or isolation." No one dared speak. The weight of survival history of endurance, and of a human presence pressed on every mind. Even the most defiant generals felt their courage drain. One by one, the counselors signed the surrender. Systems that had resisted humanity for centuries bowed in recognition. Fleets that had once fired without thought now stood still. Humanity did not celebrate. It did not conquer. It did not raise flags or claim thrones. Its presence alone was enough to command respect and obedience. Kale looked around, his hands trembling. We were never the strongest, he whispered to himself. Not even close. The humans offered one final reminder before leaving the planet. We are not rulers. We are guardians. The galaxy will prosper only when strength is tempered with wisdom. Remember this. And with that, the human ship ascended, fading into the void, leaving behind a humbled empire. A world that had once celebrated itself as untouchable now understood the true meaning of power. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Galactic Empire knelt, and the galaxy, wide and ancient, knew that humanity had arrived. The stage was set. A new order had begun. But the humans' mission was far from over. Their vigilance, patience, and judgment would shape the galaxy for centuries to come. The Empire had surrendered, but humanity's story had only just begun.